Hello and welcome, I am Raziel. So, Warhammer 40k has a huge amount of lore, probably more than any other science fiction series, with some of the very best writers in the industry writing some of the very best books, stretching across many worlds and races, with 10,000 years of history to dig from. So, in celebration of World Book Day, here is my 5 favourite Warhammer 40,000 novels. I was going to do omnibuses, and as I've said, these are my 5 favourite, and they are not in any particular order either. And I have also read these many times. I've had to add some restrictions to avoid repetition. These are 1 per author and 1 per faction. Faction being individual Space Marine chapters, not Space Marines as a whole. This is included with Eldari, Orcs, etc. Though to be honest with you, it's mostly Space Marines, as there are very few books based on the Eldari, Orcs, etc. Actually, it's mostly Space Marines. It's 4 out of 5 are Space Marines, just so you know. And here we go. So, at number 5 is Horus Rising, starting with the book from the series based on the event that started the whole thing. It's also written by one of the best authors, Dan Abnett, focusing on the Lunar Wolves, and Garviel Loken and his Primarch, Horus Lupercal. After the Primarch has been made War Master and the Emperor has left for the secret Rebray project, it starts with a great phrase saying, "I was there when Horus slew the Emperor." It's a great way to start a book, and it sets up the rest of the novel. It's a lot about deception and how things are perceived. It is a great book, and it is well written, and is a great one just to introduce people into the lore, and it's good for that, as I believe that's why it was written. Garviel Loken is one of my favourite characters, and honestly, well, in the first 3 books anyway, his later stuff is not as good, and there is good reason for that. And I don't want to actually add spoilers in here, even for a book that's almost 20 years old. And you watch his awe of his father and Primarch, Horus Lupercal, dwindle throughout the book, and it also leads up to the rest of his series, and it sets a great tone for it. Now, if you're looking to start reading the 40k books, this is one I would recommend. And this is pretty much the reason why it's number 5, and why this is the Dan Abnett book I chose. As anyone will tell you, there's loads by him. There's Gaunt's Ghost, there's just ranking as well. Now I'm thinking of his Malice the Darkblade books for Warhammer Fantasy. There is many more, and there's many more comics too, such as Titanicus, which is a great read too. I've got that. Anyone that's worth reading if you can find it. Anyway, so at number 5 is Horus Rising. Number 4 is Windsworld. I have never made it a secret that I am no fan of the Imperial Fists. And luckily this doesn't really extend to their excessors. I will make jokes about them, as always, but I've got to say, Crimson Fist is my favourite one. Now, Windsworld just reinforces this love for them. It is written by Steve Parker and is available in the Crimson Fist omnibus, but you make mistakes, such as them blowing up their own fortress monastery due to poorly upkept weapons. But even when a chapter is almost completely wiped out, the Crimson Fist had to change everything about themselves to save their homeworld from one of the biggest orc wars to ever harass the Imperium, led by the Great Arsonist. It's a fantastic read. It's a great insight to one of the best chapter masters too, especially one that the Imperial has ever been. I think was the one I was actually looking forward to, as I actually have 2 copies of this book. One is well read, and the other one is in the omnibus. I love this book, and I honestly think more people should pick it up. The Warhammer Battle Series, Space Marine Battle Series, was a great series, and unfortunately the omnibus doesn't have the maps inside. But yeah, if you get to pick up the omnibus, read this book, and you'll have a fun and enjoyable time, and it really shows how a Space Marine chapter can go from one tactic to completely diversify into a different one, and changing their entire strategy and stratagems of themselves. Anyway, we're going to stay with the Imperial Fist successor and an Orc War with number 3, and this is House Reach by Aaron Dembski Bowden. House Reach is much about the Second War of Armageddon, as it is a character study of Chaplain Grimaldus of the Black Templars, starting with how he's worrying about how he's going to die in Armageddon. Seeing a Space Marine worrying about death is quite interesting. Well, he's not quite worrying, but he's more like making it as a fact this is where he's going to die. Anyway, he also unites all the surviving militia of Armageddon and to defend the hive city of House Reach. It was great. We see a lot of how the people are facing orcs and how they feel. These are just normal humans next to Space Marines. Space Marines being the stoic and they can't die sort of opinion, to the humans being absolutely terrified, but be given this faith by being next to the Space Marines. It's an absolutely fantastic read about people as well. We also see Grimaldi getting his faith tested when he has to go against the High Priest of the Mechanicum, just to save the High Sea and the planet Armageddon as well. House Reach is the book that launched Aaron Devsky-Belden into the limelight, and it has good reason too. It is a fantastic book, it is well written, and it really does get you, and it makes you show you not only the fear that orcs can cause, but with hope and divinity that almost comes from the Space Marines onto a normal person. And it got a nice reprint too as part of a Black Library celebration. Also, you can pick it up in the Black Armageddon Omnibus. This is where I read it, and this is how I got it. Most of these I got from omnibuses anyway, just so you know, except Horus Rising. Yeah, so it's well worth a read, and pick up the Armageddon Omnibus if you can. It's fantastic. Number 2 is Guy Haley's Dante. Now, with Blood Angels, I have as many books I wanted to choose from. I was actually stuck between this one and Lamartie's, but Dante wins, because it's a wonderful character study. I do like character books. However, the longest lived Space Marine himself, Dante, from his childhood to his growth and rise through the Blood Angels, being picked up by the Sanguinor personally prior to his even ascendance to full Astartes. We see him as a child, and he actually sees the Sanguinor there. Now, it is told in flashback form at parts. The aged Blood Angel is looking back at his life, and now he's looking forward to his own death. And this is important to him because he is old. Part of a kind of series of Blood Angel books, which include The Devastation of Baal, and another one, which I keep forgetting, which I haven't read yet. And all by Guy Haley. Dante is a great book, and it's a great character study, as I said. It shows no matter how noble and strong you are as a Space Marine, even time itself can be the greatest enemy. He wants to die because he has buried friends and brothers, and in a war and area like galaxies such as the Warhammer 40,001, you can feel his pain, and Guy Haley has done a good job of humanizing an immortal chapter master like Dante. Now, number one is not particularly my favourite book, but it is one I have read many times. And it's not even based on an army I have any real interest of collecting, yet I do love this book, and it's Kingsblade. It's about when 2 unblooded princeps are thrown into command after the devastating betrayal by a family member, and they take their knights into the fight. Now, the best thing about this book is not only is the family member has betrayed them and their people, is that they have to now fight for survival, respect, and more importantly, the people of the Imperium. They have to regain the respect of their people because of the betrayal. Now, it's written more like a medieval tale than your average science fiction. It has magic and chaos and deception and evil by the fell traitors of the word bearers, as they try to divide the hero knight. These are the knights Errant, Daniel, and Luke. Or Luck, whichever you want to do. It is a great book, and the first one I finished from start to finish. I just read this in a single sitting, and it is by Andy Clark. I love it. And the best thing is we rarely see in the 41st millennium knights being the focus of the book. We've seen them in books, we've seen them written about books. And we're talking about 41st millennium here, not obviously the Horus Heresy books, as there is a couple in there. But in the 41st millennium, we rarely see them as the focus, and let alone on the Imperium side. Usually they are the Knights of Chaos that we are shown, and these are to represent the overwhelming odds of the Imperium that have to face. And the Knight's Blade is Kingsblade, so I was thinking about a sequel to that too. Is a book I pick up often, and I would recommend you to do it too. And I would also recommend picking up the sequel, Knight's Blade 2. Right, get it in the right order. Again, they're both fantastic books, and it's nice to see it. It's nice to see how a very good book is written, and how a book about giant knights can be just about as much about family and, you know, betrayal and everything else. Not just big robots smashing the hell out of each other. Andy Clark did a great job in this book, and I'm glad I've read it. I'm glad I'm going to read it again. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I see you all again soon. Links to Forbidden Planet down below, as I believe they actually sell these books if you wish to purchase one anyway. And there's also Element Games, up to 25% off on Warhammer as well. And they also sell some books too, but not that many, just so you know. My comic and t-shirts are down below as well, as is my Patreon, should you wish to give me money, but I'd prefer you click the other links so you get something out of it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. And happy World Celebration. What books are you reading today? Link the comment down below if you're reading a book on which one. Currently, I am actually reading The Great Devourer Omnibus, because it has a great Eldar book by Guy Haley in it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.